Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode number 302 of our live show. It's a pop up taking your questions about U.S. immigration law. I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi, founder of the JQK Immigration Law Firm. I help couples, investors, and people with extraordinary ability and talents get green cards and work visas in the United States, be able to achieve their American dream, have success here, live their lives, and grow and help the world, help America, and help themselves and their family take things to the next level. We usually do this show every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific time, but I've been trying to find some extra time because we have so many people reaching out and having questions to kind of jump in and take their questions live for educational purposes only, not intended as individual legal guidance here on TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and on Instagram. So as we start, if you have questions, shout them out. And if it's something I could answer or give an idea about, be happy to do it. So having said all that, I gave the disclaimers. I said this, I said that. Oh, yeah, we have guides. We have ultimate guides that you can't find anywhere else. The number one is the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. If you go to the website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com, you can download a 70-plus page guide on U.S. marriage law that teaches you and guides you on the process for a fiancé visa, a marriage visa, and the like. So definitely check that out. So marriageimmigrationlaw.com if you're interested in that kind of green card visa. And we also just published a 50 page guide, plus it's more than that, called the Ultimate Naturalization Citizenship Guide. And you could download that at website jqqlaw.com/contact. Just jqqlaw.com/citizenship. Now, contacts are contacts, but jqqlaw.com/citizenship. And download that guide and check it out. It's going to be help you in the citizenship process, and then schedule a private consultation to talk about it. That gives you an idea of what the situation is at the very start, so you know what you're getting yourself into. And if you're going to be interviewing not clients, but attorneys to see what's up and if they're good or not, all that kind of stuff, you could actually, ask good questions and not talk about basic stuff. You talk about more, important stuff. Now, if you're watching on TikTok and you're enjoying this, please press the like button. The more likes we get, the more people come and talk and ask questions. So we really enjoyed that. And share the feed. It'd be great to do that. But let's get the show started. How's the internet feed going? Usually all sorts of internet feed because of slowdowns, but the immigration situation in the U.S. is kind of precarious. A lot of weird things are happening that haven't been done before, but cases are still getting approved. We got a work permit approved right now for a marriage-based case. About to sneeze, sorry. Just took a month to get this, so it's pretty consistent. Like 7 out of 10 times we get the work permits, like in a month, and then 3 out of 10 times, who knows? But a lot of them are happening fast, and even the green cards themselves, the interviews are happening in the U.S. Adjustment of status pretty fast. Overseas, it varies. We have our first question. Safar asks, if a person who has served in mandatory military service and received a green card in 2021, would you suggest applying for citizenship? Do you accept such a case? So at mandatory military service, and based on your name, I believe you're talking about an Iranian case. Now, if the mandatory military service was in the IRGC, the Islamic Republic, stand for something Revolutionary Guard Corps, whatever that's called, IRGC, Guard Corps, or SEPA, then right now it's a new thing where they're denying citizenship, potentially kicking you out even. So I would not travel internationally if you did SEPA service, and I would not apply for anything because that could lead to you having big problems. That's a new thing that popped up. They don't give us warning of these things. They just all of a sudden we hear about it happen to somebody. And then good luck trying to fix that, even if it's possible. So more information is needed on your case. Please schedule a consultation. Go to jqqlaw.com/contact to set that up. It's a paid consultation, but we get more detail about it. But that's the overview right now. I'm assuming some facts in your case that may exist. So I want to give you a heads up on that. Roger asks, I got approved in February 2025 for a widow of a U.S. citizen. Oh, I'm sorry about that. How long does it take to get original photos, even though I'm new, updating 4 or 5 PDF style on a letter size page to the interview? Your question is kind of disjointed, but how long does it take to get original photos? I'm not sure what that means. They'll do biometrics eventually. There's no how long. The timelines of these cases vary a lot. I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question correctly, though. But you just got to wait, and if you want to upload stuff, and then upload it and bring it with you. 4B asks, where are you located? I'm located in Los Angeles myself, but my associate's in Virginia. So we handle cases from across the country and across the world. Our location doesn't matter. We deal with the embassies by email and uploading documents to the State Department. With USCIS, we mail them stuff, upload, and with clients, we do email and mail and video consultation. So our location does not matter on these kind of cases, and so just be prepared for that. Let's go to the next question. 4B, thank you for the gifter badge. Appreciate it. If you haven't already, please like the TikTok feed so we get more attention and more questions. VNA says, are they redacting U.S. citizenship or is that rumors? I'm not sure what you mean by redacting. Redacting is like cross out and block certain things on a piece of paper. I think you mean denaturalization, taking away U.S. citizenship for people that became U.S. citizens. And no, that's been happening a long time. The Trump administration is focused on that. It's not widespread, but thank you for giving me the gifter badge. I appreciate it. Please share Please share this live feed so more people can hear it, and start with the likes. I really appreciate it. AS says, I've been charged as an arriving alien. Okay, there's more to that. You definitely need to consult with an immigration attorney in private. That's probably going to lead to you going to immigration court. Our office does not handle immigration court. So in that case, I'd recommend consult with an attorney that does that, not us. Lillian says, hi, John. Thank you for all your information. You're welcome, Lillian. Good to see you again. Lillian says, I have a 10-year green card at the moment. Can I travel to Europe? And do I need to do anything now prior to applying for citizenship in 3 years? So, Leah, because it's a public forum right here, I can't tell you whether you could travel or not. That's like very case specific to you. So I can't really answer that question. But generally, a person who has a green card can travel, and that's that. And do I need to do anything now prior to applying for citizenship in 3 years? I mean, you got to have a good citizenship case, pay your taxes, not be in crimes, register things you need to register. Don't register. Don't. It's such an open-ended question. It's hard to say. We should probably just have a private video consultation and just go through your history and what you're doing, what you're up to see if there's issues that exist that come, red flags that I can identify easily. Princess, thank you for the gifter badge. More likes can attract more viewers. So please, we're 6 minutes of the show. Please do like as much as possible so you get more attention. It says, I've charged with an arriving alien and got my withholding removal. Can I detain me in my checking? Yeah, I mean, that could always happen. It's not something I specialize in, so that's one of those questions I don't want to really get into because it's not the specialization of my firm. But shoot out your questions. Unfortunately, the court situation is getting much more real with people getting sucked into immigration court, being detained. That is popping up more and more in the U.S. immigration system. It's pretty scary, frankly, for people who are into it. You might have been here many years. You might have a green card case or asylum case pending, and they suck you into immigration courts unexpectedly. It wasn't the case for them to do stuff like that in the past, but unfortunately, it is something we're seeing more and more happening. It's not as widespread, but it's still happening. I mean, there's like 1 million people that could have this happen to, and a couple thousand happen to. It's not necessarily the biggest number statistically, but when it does happen, that's a big hammer that falls. Jonathan says, can you win asylum after applying after 1 year? Can a person? Maybe. It depends on the reason why. So let me back it up. If you want to file for asylum, which is not a case that our office handles, you have to file it within 1 year coming to the United States. If you file it after, you have to ask for forgiveness. That you have a reason why you took so long to file your asylum case. Now, some people have successfully argued it, and some people don't. So when you say, can you? Yeah, it really depends on what you argue, what the facts are, or what happened. Jonathan, thank you for the gifter badge. That's if you have a new warrant from back home and maintain your status. I'm not sure the question is. If you have a criminal warrant stuff, that's problematic. You should look into it. Nikki Boo says Ember. I'm not sure what that means. Coco Bean asks, applying for FOIA, can it affect your pending I-130, I-45 case decision? It shouldn't. It hasn't historically. So we'll see if it changes on the Trump administration. Roger says, I have a criminal conviction. I have a criminal conversations. Maybe convictions. I was deported in 2010. I've been more than 10 years now that I've been in India. My wife applied for me to come back, which got approved while my wife died. So the bigger thing you got to worry about is if you get a waiver for it, because your criminal conviction might be something that's not fixable, or it needs a waiver for it, a 601 waiver or something like that. So Roger, you should hopefully have an attorney already. You shouldn't have filed that case without having an attorney on the front end. But I'm sorry for your loss. That's terrible. Your spouse died. Yeah, when you have criminal cases, this is what people get wrong. Like I had we don't handle cases where people have criminal history, but I had a person I know contact me and say, my loved one is detained by ICE. They're holding on to him. And all he had was like, he got in a fight with his girlfriend once the police came and they let him go and they're charging him with stuff. And I was like, well, that's not something that should be a problem. And then I talked with the son. He's like, yeah, they came and they arrested me because they said I beat up my girlfriend and they dropped those charges. Really didn't happen. But there was a marijuana pipe next to him, so they charged him with possession of marijuana, and that becomes a real serious issue. And the loved one that initially called didn't know about that. So whenever and then the guy himself, I asked him what happened. He's like, I don't know, I thought it was dismissed. And finally got the court records, and it showed that they were going to dismiss it, but he missed his court date, and the judge didn't like that, so they charged him with something like a lesser offense. So that went in the system, but he didn't even know what was going on. So that's why when people say this kind of stuff, it's we got to get the criminal record, got to see what happens. We can't rely on what people say because they don't know. Most people, when they hire lawyers, just leave it to the lawyer to have no idea what's happening in the case. That's why when people come and talk with me, my lawyer's doing this and that, I can't really rely on what they say. I got to get the paperwork, see what's going on. Coco Bean asks, already completed interview for both 120 days. Passes, so I applied for FOIA. You could. I'm not sure how much the FOIA is going to help, but yes, something you can do. Momo says, derivative, non-main applicant, pending asylum. Is it safe to apply for emergency parole to home country? Is it safe? No. But, I mean, if you got to do it, you got to do it, but they could hassle you about it. And there's probably a $1,000 fee for that. Erlin says, I sent my application. It might be exceptions for that. There's a new rule for advanced parole that they're charged $1,000, but there's like exceptions. The only one I focused on was for marriage or adjustment of status cases. I haven't read that if it applies to you or not. Erlen says, I sent my application in September, and my appointment is in December. I have 100 or 225 questions. The 125 question system, I think, came in October 20th. So if you filed your case before then, what you did, then it wouldn't apply to you. Aaron Perez, thank you for the gift badge. Please like, wherever you're watching this, like and share the feed so other people know that we have this live show taking your U.S. immigration questions live. I'm Immigration Lord John Khosravi. Typically, our show is Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. You're welcome, Ireland. 7 p.m. Eastern. Irina, thanks for following. Please follow, like, and share the feed. But I've been doing some pop-ups of just jumping in for half an hour answering questions because we got it's less busier, and so I can spend more time per question because sometimes you get inundated with questions. I try to get to all of them, and so that makes it hard for people to understand what I'm saying. but now we get less questions when I do it without them expecting it. Coming on. Baruska, thanks for the gifter badge. Please like as well. I appreciate that. Like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And if you're on YouTube, feel free to ask questions. LinkedIn as well. Quick note. If you're going to do a marriage, green card, or fiance visa case, we have a guide for you called the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. It's at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. That's the website, marriageimmigrationlaw.com. And if you're interested in citizenship, naturalization, download the Ultimate Naturalization Citizenship Guide. That's at jqqlaw.com/citizenship. And if you want to schedule a private consultation and talk with me, go to jqqlaw.com/contact. Fill in the contact information so we know a little more about you, and we'll follow up. Juan Badu, thanks for liking the live. Please jump in. Everybody's watching. Press like on the live to help promote the feed so we could have more questions to answer. Copo Bean says, 1 year has passed since I applied for a green card to U.S. spouse. Why is it taking so long for case decisions? That's just how it takes. So are you a citizen or are you a green card holder, Coco Bean? Is your spouse overseas or in the United States, Coco Bean? These are factors we need to know. But 1 year in immigration is like 2 seconds. It's not like noticeable time frame, unfortunately. It sucks. It's terrible that it takes that long. But it's not like a crazy time frame. Okay, please shoot out your questions about U.S. immigration law, and we'll jump in and answer them and get you started. Okay, thank you, Tyler Main. Please share the feed. G-Daz, share the feed. My coffee's getting cold. I forgot about it. It's right here. So if you're filing for citizenship, if you're a green card holder, you want to file for citizenship, it takes 5 years for you to be able to do that. So you're a green card holder for 5 years, then you can file for citizenship 90 days before the 5-year mark. But if you're married and been living with a U.S. citizen, you can file for 3 years, 90 days for 3 years as soon as you file it. Kokomi follows up. He's a citizen who petitioned for me, already completed interview, just waiting. Interview with USCIS or at the embassy. And if you did the interview, and it's up to, it's so many factors in there. It's just hard. It's not something I can say this or that. My Roger Singh says, my I-601 was approved and now applied for permission to re-enter in February 2025. How long does that take? Probably a year. Kokomi says, I thought being married to U.S. citizen, green card takes 6 months of approval. Timelines are all over the place. Most of my cases nowadays take 3 to 6 months, but I have like one case is taking a year and a half. I think the background the applicant requires it. Interview in Atlanta field office. So it just varies. It varies. I haven't reviewed the details of your case. See if there's a problem with it too. That's something we got to check out. Raman G, thank you for the gifter badge. Please like if you're watching this. Badu, thanks for liking. Raman G, thanks for liking the live one. And Kokobi, yeah, unfortunately, it is never know with immigration how long things are actually going to take. That's why people go on the show always ask me, how long is this going? How long does it take? It give you a range, but at the same time, anything's possible. It could go all over the place. Tehasni says, hi, John. I hope you're doing well. It's been 3 years and 2 months. No updates yet. F2A category. What should we do in this case? Nothing much. You got to wait. I-130 should be approved soon and then start the embassy process. 1, 2, 3. Dre says, marriage-based green card is approved, conditional, pending asylum, filed in 2019. No interview yet. Cancel it. If you got your green card in hand, you can withdraw the asylum case. RBK says, I lawfully entered the United States in 2012 as a B2 visitor and later changed my status to F1 student under duration of status. In April 2014, my employer filed Form I-140 and I-45 for me. That's 10 years ago. Where is this going to end up, RBK? Keep me posted. So I think he's got more to type in. Heads up. So F1's a student visa. If you come on a tourist visa, you do change status to the student visa. Sometimes they'll bother you about it, saying that, what did I do? Am I adding someone live? How do I shut that off? Okay, I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, I'm sorry. Hello, I'm not doing. I pressed the wrong button. I'm not. I don't want you to talk about your confidential case on the live show. So I don't know how to get out of this, but thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Uh, Yeah, so TikTok, if you're watching, it gives you this option to invite people to come on the show. Some lawyers do that, but you're gonna end up saying like confidential stuff in a public way that may be bad for you. So I don't want to risk people's like safety by them saying something wrong in a public place. So I don't do that kind of show myself. But just TikTok, you say invite live, and I accidentally pressed it. So I wish I could do that because it'll be a fun show. But again, I got to protect people's lives. RB says, and I received my work permit while that case was pending. My I-45 was denied in May 24, 2016. August 2016, I filed asylum. Remains pending. Okay, RBK, your stuff's going long, but I'm guessing you're going to say, could you get it? It's a long question. There's so many facts in your case already that I'm not sure I can answer. Feel free to put in the rest of your question. We'll see what happens. Victor asks, me and my wife, who is American, we live in Europe. Can I apply for a green card while both of us live here? You start the process, but to finish it, your wife's who's a U.S. citizen, eventually needs to move to the United States because they won't approve the case unless your wife's domiciled here. We'll domicile soon. In Europe, a little more flexible. Domicile requirement is part of the affidavit of support, the financial portion. That says the U.S. citizen spouse is living in the United States or soon to be living here. Most embassies will be strict and will require your wife to move here first, then approve it. But then there's also an affidavit of support issue of financial sponsorship that your wife can't do unless she's got a lot of money or you have a lot of money, like just savings. You might need a U.S. person to follow that. So it gets complicated. It's doable. We do it all the time, but there's strategy needed for your kind of case, Victor. Please download our guide, the Ultimate Marriage Green Card Guide. Go to marriageimmigrationlaw.com and check that out. And let me make a note of this question. I'll do a tick on it. Living abroad. So this domicile issue is going to come up. So you got to be prepared for that. And then the strategy of the affidavit support. But you get the I-130 started, the petition failing relative. Okay, so Sapphire says citizenship interview has been passed and received email as we will notify you for making arrangement for taking oath. How long does it take? Will the government shutdown impact things? No, government, you pay the M400, the citizenship application, has a fee of $710. You're already paying for that, so they don't need government funds per se. So it's not supposed to affect you unless the government just wants to be like mess around, but it's not technically supposed to affect you. When will the interview happen? Same day, a day later, a week later, a month later. It depends on how busy their scheduling is, really. Adrian says, do you recommend someone who entered unlawfully and has been married to a U.S. citizen for over 10 years apply for naturalization with the current administration? You can't file for naturalization. So if you have to be a green card holder to file for naturalization, I don't know if you'll be able to get a green card. So it's tricky to see if some exception applies. So naturalization means for citizenship, and if you enter unlawfully, you can't file for citizenship. You got to get a green card first. Now there might be exceptions to that, but like you're married to a military, a Marine, for example, and you do parole in place and get a green card. And then once you get the green card, if your spouse gets, moves overseas for work or, not work, but it's like it's stationed overseas, then you can expect the citizenship naturalization. So there are strategies and techniques for exceptional kind of cases, but you have a lot of more issues involved there. RBK says, basically now I have a national interest waiver approved. Well, that's pretty good with 90 days. And I've been pending asylum for about 10 years. Can I file adjustment on 245K? You can't do 245K. You've been out of status too long. And consular processing would be better. Who knows what's going to happen with consular processing? I don't know the details. It might be what you have to do. So you've been out of status for much longer. So once your F1 ended, once your adjustment of status ended, I don't think it's been 90 days because you're saying 2016 you filed asylum. So I'm not sure if you've had only 9 days of out of status. It's been longer. And 25 gives this complicated. 245K is an exception for applying for a green card based on employment. You have to have 180 days without status. But you say you came as a student, and I'm not sure your adjustment status was denied years ago. So you're out of status for many years now. So I got to see when you actually fell out of status and take it from there. Damien says, I have an interview for adjustment through marriage. Should I take a photo album with original photos, even though I'm taking new updated 4 or 5 picture PDF style and letter size interview? I mean, people that do their case on their own take photo albums. They don't need that. other stuff's more important. So yeah, you could have 4 or 5, 10 photos you take with you or print them on a paper. But having other evidence of your relationship is better. And really, the most important thing is be able to answer the questions right about your relationship. To be able to, like, how you met, where you went on your first dates, and all that kind of stuff. When was it? All that kind of stuff. So RB says, my adjustment of status was done in 2016, and within 90 days, I filed for asylum. Filing for asylum doesn't give you status. It calls unlawful presence stays, which is different than 245K. So it's a very technical answer. It's very hard. A lot of lawyers don't understand it. But you're not accruing unlawful presence, which is helpful for preventing a 3 or 10-year bar if you do consular processing. But then might have the issue of saying return to your home country when you have an asylum case pending. So there's that, let's say, was asylum real or not? Are you afraid or not? Alternatively, the 180 days is based on when full-on status ends. And when your status ended, you start running a 245K clock. So that 245K wouldn't help you in that kind of case. Now, having said that, some offices consider filing for asylum a status mistakenly 1 out of 100 times. I think it's an error. So most likely none of that's going to work. So you have issues. You really need to talk to immigration in private about this stuff, because your case is complicated enough that this show wouldn't be good. But the way you're calculating the 90 days is incorrect. The calculation of like filing for asylum saves you from the 3 or 10-year bar for unlawful presence accumulation, but you're still going to add a status for years now, so you can't use 245K anymore. Irene says, curious if immigration history appears on FBI background check. Husband was approved, go on base Uber. I'm not sure what that part, go on base Uber means, but yeah, it can. So if you're going to stop at the border, potentially it might come in the FBI background check. Sakib asks, I have a 48-month extension letter, expired green card. Can I travel? I don't know if you can travel, but I do a lot of videos on this as detailed because I can't give individual guidance. I don't know anything about your background. So Sakib Zafar, I'm being prejudicial here, but like in your name, you sound like you're Muslim. I don't know if you went online and said something bad about Israel. If you did, they're not going to let you in or get a portrait. so whether you can or not, I don't know. I can't say because I don't know anything about you. But if you have a removal of conditions I-751 pending, you have the expired green card, new green card, no criminal history, no inadmissibility issues, no problems, yeah, it's okay to travel. But I need to know more background if you can travel with the extension. I-751, can I travel? You're welcome, RBK. And thank you for the gift, Sakib. KK says, do you have to file the I-130 with affidavit signing, or the attorney could file? With affidavit signing. I'm not sure what you mean by affidavit signing. So you have to clarify that. But everything you file with the immigration department, you could do on your own, or if you have a lawyer, the lawyer could file it for you. You still need to sign everything. So that's part of it. Now, I'm not sure, because when you say affidavits, there's affidavits about your relationship. And so there's a thing there, like letters from family and friends. But there's the affidavit of support if you're doing adjustment of status. So you need clarification on what exactly you're asking. Carlene Camel, thanks for the gift and appreciate coming on the show again. Well, we got 2,000 likes all of a sudden. Please push the like button and get more. Yesterday I did it. We got like 8,000 likes or 9,000 likes in 30 minutes. So we're 23 minutes into only 1.9 likes. Let's push it, guys. Appreciate it. Arturo says, I was born abroad. My father was born in the U.S., but now it's hard to get birth certificate under the new laws. Well, there's no new laws here. If you were born abroad, but your father was born as a U.S. citizen, he needs to have been living in the United States physically for 5 years that he could document, 2 of which were over the age of 14. If he doesn't have that, he can't pass down citizenship to you. Alternatively, depending on your age, you might be able to get citizenship through a grandparent. That may be too late for that. So we got to analyze and see what's going on in your case. But there's no particular new laws in that situation, just the old laws. El Maido says, what is the best thing to do if ICE stops you and you're on DACA? Tell them you're on DACA. There's not much you can do if ICE, don't talk with them or let them know you're on DACA. Hopefully they'll stop them. But with Trump administration, they'll just do whatever they want to do. A Real Fake says, gives a big fresh thank you. Arturo says, birth certificate. You mean consular record of birth abroad from the embassy? If you're older, it's hard to get that, but you could get a certificate of citizenship if you need that. Mbaki says, I have temporary I-5 fund pending I-7 file. Can I travel? Wow, this is a question we get all the time. Generally, a person can't travel with that, but it depends on their background. Do they have any criminal history? Do they have any marriage fraud accusations? Do they file their paperwork I-751 in error? That's problematic. Do they have any inadmissibility issues? Recently, the Trump administration is giving problems for people who said anything bad about America, who said anything bad about Israel. That could be issues that we didn't expect to happen in the past. Did you even complete your Form I-751 properly? When you file Form I-751 removal of conditions, for example, this form, if you're filing jointly with your spouse, you sign on page like 7 and your spouse signs page 8. So the foreign person signs first, and the U.S. or green card holding spouse signs the second spot. I think it's page 7 and 8. Now, we've seen it where people mix it up and sign the wrong spots, vice versa, and then the case 2 years later gets denied. If you get denied and you're out of the country and you try to come back in, they should really let you in to argue your case, but or just refile or something like that. But sometimes they won't. The airline's afraid to board, so all sorts of problems happen. So not having reviewed your case, I can't really advise you on if it's good to travel or not. We had this actually just my colleague got a phone call about this yesterday, where a woman, she was actually Irish, and she was I-751 pending. She goes to Mexico, and the case was approved while she was in Mexico. So she came to the airport, and the airport said, "Oh, we need the new green card." She's like, "Well, it just got approved. I haven't got the green card yet," and they wouldn't let her board. So she probably shouldn't have even mentioned it and just say, "Here's my extension notice and my expired green card." Not said, "Oh, my green card just approved." It's unnecessary to say that, but she said it because the U.S. government will let you in. The airlines are afraid. Now, there's a phone number the airline agent can call to ask the Customs Border Protection for permission, but the airlines, either the people doing don't understand you could do that or don't feel like doing it. So the alternative now is for her to just go to the border and drive in because she's in Mexico. But as you see, there's like complications that emerge that you need guidance. And if you're had an attorney that knows what they're doing strategy, they'll talk with you. If you get your green card case approved at your overseas, we would have told you ahead of time how to prep for that, how to handle at the airport. But all sorts of weird situations happen. That's why you need someone that has your back. That's going to be there. RBK says, I've also heard that people would withdraw their asylum case just to file for adjustment of status so they get just on 245K. Is that a legitimate strategy? Not the dumbest strategy I heard in my life. RBK, that strategy doesn't make any sense. That has nothing to do with the other. 245K doesn't work like that. So, maybe it got approved. Maybe Immigration Department makes mistakes all the time. But that strategy is not even a strategy. It's like a random thing to do. Withdrawing your asylum case doesn't do anything for this adjustment. None of that doesn't make any sense. Nazal Ansari says, John, thank you for what you do. Thank you so much, Nazal. I appreciate it. God bless you. What's the future for SIJs, special immigrant juveniles? I don't know. Cindy asked, my husband actually just got the I-601 waiver approved. Congrats. But that was 3 months ago. Where is it? You should have got it in the mail, like some sort of notice or something like that. Try contacting USCIS if it's been more than 30 days. Horion says, hello, is there, we got 4,000 likes. So if you're watching this, please press the like button. Let's try to get to 5,000 and see if we can make it at the end of the show to 5,000 likes on TikTok. I appreciate it. Horion says, hello, is there any news about I-730 cases that will issue or is not in travel ban? I think I-730s are back to normal, so it's probably okay. Arturo says he has passed, but I have a real birth certificate and certification in the state of Texas. So again, you need to document your father's life and physical presence in the United States, even if he's passed. So if you can't document his physical presence in the U.S., they're not going to pass down citizenship and give you, they probably won't give you a consular record of birth abroad at this point, but you have to get a certificate of citizenship form N600, but you need evidence of him living in the United States physically. So you got to investigate that. And that's the kind of point you should hire an immigration lawyer. Horion says, we answer your question. Horion just asked the same question over again. Cindy, thank you for the gifter badge. Almost at 5,000 likes for our 4.9 thousand. Let's get to 5,000, and I'll stay on extra minutes. Okay, we have 2 more minutes. Let's see in 2 minutes. Could we get to 6,000 likes? If we do, I'll stay extra 2 minutes to keep. If all the likes keep coming, I'll keep going. Ty says, what would be the future stage? I don't know. These aren't up to me. Cindy says, no, we got the notice of approval. I'm sorry. Okay, please clarify what the question is, Cynthia. Punisher says, any new updates on K-1 visa for nationals on a travel ban? There's a lawsuit that's starting for Iranians in particular, but nothing new. Usually people just better get married in those cases. Arturo says, one more thing. I've been in the U.S. since I was 2 weeks old and now retired and receiving Social Security. Arturo, you got a complicated case. How did you enter? If your dad was a citizen, if you enter, you probably had a green card. So you became a citizen as a child. You need to talk with the attorney in private, Arturo. This is something that should have been done, 40 years, whatever you're like 3 weeks old, this should have been dealt with. So you got to go back in time. Cindy, they haven't sent it to the consulate. What I do, it's been 3 months. They don't send it to the consulate, Cindy. So it's another reason if we wasted 3 months of your time, unfortunately. So when you have a waiver, a 601A waiver, probably what it is it 601A waiver, Cindy, or is it 601 waiver? Please clarify. Arturo says, I'm waiting on IRS for tax filing. Arturo, doesn't your tax filing doesn't matter. It's about your dad and his physical presence. Okay, so Sydney got a 601. So if you got a 601, you're probably overseas. Are you in the U.S. or outside the U.S.? So if you let's say you're outside the U.S. And you do a 601, you got to contact the embassy to reschedule a new interview. Arturo says, "Thank you. I'm 68 now, but thank you. You're welcome, Arturo. Yeah, you need to clarify this because under Trump administration, they're going after people that are 70, 80 years old even and putting them in detainment if you think they're out of status. So you got to get to down the bottom of this and figure it out." 12313 says, "Would I have to attend an interview when I apply for removal conditions, marriage based? Sometimes it depends on the governments and stuff like that if they want to do that." KK, how much money do you have to get your spouse in the United States? You have to be making right now if you're just you and your spouse, no other dependents. What is it, 27,000 ish, I think. And then if you're, and you say how much money you have to have, let's say savings, you have to have on average if you're a U.S. citizen filing for your spouse, like $80,000 or something like that, maybe 85,000, let's say, on average, in balance the last 12 months. There's different ways to calculate it, but something like that. Nasal says, "What specific procedural skills are most valuable for immigration practitioners?" Patience, patience, curiosity, interest in your clients, empathy, compassion. So these seem like values and stuff like that, but these are the core of what it is: patience, care, curiosity, empathy, a sense of urgency, that kind of stuff. So clarify that's what you're kind of asking for. Ryan says, "My family down with the interview in American Embassy. They say you're in a travel ban for I-730 of Afghan." I haven't thought about how the I-730 works based on the travel ban. In general, there's a pause on I-730s for everybody, but it came back on. When the Trump administration first started, it came back. But for Afghans, I'm not sure how it's going to work out if they're within a travel ban or not. I haven't dealt with that scenario because I don't do I-730s. Like, it's not a main thing that we do. Oh, is it safe nowadays to go out of the country for consular processing? It's safe is relative, RBK. So, sometimes it's nice. If it's been in the country for 13 years, I've accommodated 90 days lawful presence. I'm from Russia. So for Russia, you have to go to Poland for your interview. I think maybe as a backup, they'll give like another embassy. They just made it more stringent, but typically to Poland. So you don't deal with Russia itself, the embassy in Russia. But is it safe? I mean, you could always go there and they can make mistakes or accuse you of this or that. You're working with that. So we got to see what's going on. But keep in mind, too, for the 245K, not only is it days being out of status could be considered unlawful, counted against that. But if you work, each day you work is considered a day on there. If you've been here for 9-10 years, you probably work with authorization. But then again, if you have a asylum case pending, you probably have a work permit. Now, please note there's an exception where that if you have an asylum case pending and you work without authorization, each of the work days there is counted for 244 unlawful presence days. So if you worked with authorization with an asylum case pending for 180 days, you will be subject to a 3 or 10-year bar if you leave and come back in. Now, most people don't know that statute, so it doesn't get enforced that much. But that's written in INA 245. Was it INA 245? Yeah, the unlawful presence statute. No, INA 212. I'm sorry, 212. Arturo, you're waiting for his taxes. Yeah, so do that. But Arturo, I would recommend getting your father's social security record and also doing your FOIA request for anything you can. Go to LexisNexis, search for property ownership, do that kind of stuff. But social security records is stronger than taxes because social security shows what quarter you work. Taxes, you could be living overseas and making money filing tax. It doesn't necessarily show that. All right, so actually we got to 9,600 likes. Wow, I lost track answering questions, and I just was, thinking but I guess I got to go extra 5 minutes now. I got to see my family's going to be like, "Hey, come, need your help." But let's keep it going. Okay, so let me go. Well, we got 9,800 likes. I can't stop right now, so let's keep it going. RBK, thank you for good questions, though. These are like complex stuff, so I hope I wasn't mean I was saying the strategy was bad. But these are things we can talk for half an hour on. And that's why it's like, this is like a real thing. It's best to have a lawyer that knows what they're doing to talk about this. But there's a risk. If you have asylum pending, I mean, you're not going to go to Russia, you're going to Poland, so that's less. Overall, it's not a bad strategy to do consular processing if you have an NIW approved. The first thing is that we need to just check to make sure you don't have other inadmissibility issues that could get you. For example, if you work with authorization, that could be okay. But if you got a job and claim to be a U.S. citizen, that could be a false claim to citizenship, that could stop you. Just a general worry is, as anywhere, like, if you leave the U.S., it's up to government officers will let you back in or issue a visa, and they can make mistakes. They can give you, and it'll take another year or two to get you back in, that kind of thing. So overall, it's not like it's doable. Inevitably, in these kind of cases, we do recommend doing consular processing because it may be the only way to do it. And frankly, you got an NIW. That's pretty commendable. NIW is not an easy green card to get, so congrats on getting that approved. But it's just I don't want to. I'm hesitant to give say do this, do that because I want to protect your life. You're here. You got a work authorization. There's stuff going on. We got to see it. But who knows? Maybe you might be in a relationship with a U.S. citizen. You can just get married and get a green card too. 8 says, why are oath appointments taking over 3 months? It really depends on your office. In LA, we got one same day in one case. In downtown LA, in San Fernando Valley, we got one after a month. We have one in Maine right now. It took 3 weeks to get the interview. So we have them all across the country. It really depends on a local office, how long it's taking. It might have to do with your background too. They might be doing additional background checks. RBK says, if I work with EAD while my asylum case was pending for almost 10 years, it would count against 180 days on a 245K. Did I understand you right? No, it's if you let's put 245K aside because that ship has sailed. If you work without an EAD while you had an asylum case, so when you file for asylum, you got to wait a minimum of 5 months if you're file for a work permit. And then once you file, it might take months to get the actual work permit. In that time, if you work without authorization, and up to 180 days of it, if you leave the U.S., you'll be banned from coming back for 3 years under this little minor statute that no one knows about in Immigration Nationality Act Section 212, which says that if the asylum case pending, unauthorized employment gets counted as unlawful presence days and could accumulate for a 3 or 10-year bar. It's a lot of legal stuff. It's going to be annoying for people to hear, but that doesn't apply to you because you got a work permit, so that's not something you need to worry about. Josh Rio says, how can we contact you for business? Josh, our website, jqqlaw.com/contact is a great question. jqqlaw.com/contact. All right, let's go to the next question. Because we got 11,400 likes. Wow, we beat yesterday's record of 9,000. Let's see if we get a 15,000. I'll stay online for 2 more minutes. If we get to 15, I'll go another 2 minutes. Victor says, what if they don't have 80,000 savings? Are there any other options? Well, if you're employed, but what you may have to do is to get a joint sponsor. That's the option, joint sponsor. Download my guide at marriageimmigrationlaw.com. We do get into somewhat of the affidavit support. Punisher says, so my fiance petition just reached the U.S. Embassy in Islamabad. She's Afghan. Should I make an appointment or will they deny it because of the ban? They'll probably deny it because of the ban. I mean, it's going to take forever to get an appointment. And once they do, they'll probably deny it because of the ban. So you got to just probably get married. Reed says, what if you got married, then your husband doesn't want help anymore? You got to see if it's an abusive spouse, maybe filing for a VAWA case. 8 says, I called USCIS and it said my case is the last step with the supervisor. What does that mean? I mean, they're still reviewing your case. It's not approved yet. It's for oath ceremony. So we're at 12,200 likes. If we get a 15,000, I'll stay additional. Let's see. If I get 15,000 in 2 minutes, so it's 408. At 410, I'll stay additional 2 minutes. My throat's burning out. So how about I'll do it for this thing? 8 says, no, N400 interviewed and approved on the spot. It's not approval. I mean, they prove it for the interview, but until you have an oath ceremony, you're not approved. So they can say whatever they want at the interview. They could take it back. There's people that go to their oath ceremony for citizenship, and at the oath ceremony, they take away their green card and detain them and stuff like that. So it doesn't mean, I mean, it means that you probably usually are okay, but at the end of the day, it's not like a guarantee. It's just a informal kind of thing for the interview to be approved for citizenship. You got to get the oath ceremony. Until you have a naturalization certificate, anything's possible. Punisher, so what happens with a K1 case if I file for a spouse petition? Will they hold it against me and say you just, say, fiancé visa is not going anywhere, so I went and got married, did a marriage green card case. It doesn't really matter. Please like if you can. We want to get the 15,000 likes in a minute. We're at 12,700. If I do, I'll stay additional 2 minutes to ask your questions. Punisher says, got married and still trying to schedule a K1 visa interview? No, because your K1 is void now that you got married. So you got to restart the process and do an I-130 petition and get that going. And in Pakistan, it's going to be years. Marriage cases in Pakistan to get an interview, I-130 is going to take a year and a half. Then the case goes through the embassy. It'll take 1 or 2 years if you're lucky to get an interview. So you're already in the bag still another 3, 4, 5 years until it's done, unfortunately. So it's a mess. And she's Afghan. There might be administrative processing delays. So it's like 5 years more. It's terrible. It's terrible. Terrible. We got a lot. So we got 13,300. We're at 410. I'll give another minute. If we get to 15,000, I'll stay a couple more minutes or something. But I'll give it one more minute. Once we're 411, I'll go because my throat's giving out. Any more questions? If you want to contact me, jqqlaw.com/contact is the website, jqqlaw.com/contact. Eop, thanks for joining us on Instagram. RBK, thank you for great questions you had on YouTube. And Punisher, thank you for liking the live. Vigorizing, thanks for joining. Carlina Camp, thanks again for liking. Nasal says, I hope my question is clear. Yeah, Nasal, I answered you. Let's go from more. Okay, so how did you I'm sorry, I didn't catch your question. Thank you. How did you transition into immigration law, and what skills from your earlier legal work carried over most effectively? So I didn't have earlier legal work much before I got into immigration law. Just one of the first job I got, essentially. How did I get into immigration law? I speak Farsi fluently, and a lawyer needed a Farsi translator. So I went there and started translating. And I'm like, I'm a lawyer too. I could help you with the cases. And he's like, okay. And I became an immigration lawyer. But what helped is just, it's more like life skills of like caring about people, being patient, and being thorough. It's stuff that just, being on top of it, being responsive, responsible, and organized. It's all these personal kind of qualities that help you in anywhere else in life. Same thing with immigration law. The key is you just got to be interested in liking people. So my job is like, what makes me a success is that when you come to me for work, I care about you and I want to listen and learn about you. Even if I wasn't getting paid, I'm interested in learning about people and their life. And I respect people who go through the immigration process a lot because it's so hard. So I like listening to you and hearing you out. Some people don't feel like that. Some people don't care. They want to go do something else, not deal with people. But I like learning about people. And it comes through because look, these questions you guys answer me, every question asked here, if not 1,000 times, I've answered them 10,000 times in my lifetime. And I still don't get bored. I sometimes get frustrated about timeline questions in particular because that's too much repetitive. But other than the timeline questions, I like this job, and I'm doing 15 years answering the same questions. I'm not getting tired of it. So what's important? Just find a job that you care about. And you like answering these questions. You're interested in guiding people. It's like people who teach in universities, or professors, teachers. They teach the same course, first grade or 12th grade, whatever it is, every year for 40 years. And they're a good teacher. They're really enthusiastic about a new batch of kids coming and learn about the same kind of stuff. This kind of thing for me too. I taught at law schools and I didn't enjoy it too much, but I found helping clients is really good and helping lawyers is really good. But teaching in school was kind of boring for me in that. RB says, my wife's not a citizen, filed for F1 status. Can she adjust to F1 for pending asylum in the country? Pending asylum is not status, so there's no from pending asylum. So it depends on where your wife is. If she hasn't maintained status, it's a very complicated question because we need to know a lot about her background and what her relationship is to you and where she filed for the visa. If she's been on a dependent on the asylum, it's too complicated, unfortunately, for me to answer that question. This requires a consultation. There's a lot going on here. Punter says, got married. Oh, we followed your question. Oh, we're at 15,700. Thank you very much. Punisher, would you recommend that I send the case to Tajikistan? Punisher, it was until like last month where Afghan cases could go everywhere in the world. U.S. Embassy, Afghan. But as of like last month, the State Department changed the requirements of which embassies you can go to for interviews. Unfortunately, DOS immigrant visa interview, Afghanistan. So Afghans were considered homeless embassy states, so they could go anywhere, but they just changed it last month or a month and a half ago, and so now you can. So I'm trying to look up where it is. Maybe Tajikistan. I'm pulling up the State Department's website. I'm trying to find it. And they say for Afghanistan, Islamabad is the only place you can go to. So you can't change. I mean, you could try ask Tajikistan under exceptional circumstances. They may accept it, but probably not. But you give it a shot. KK says, how much savings I have to have in order to not get a sponsor? I've been on my job for 2 years. Well, maybe 2 years is enough if you make enough money. But I think you ask a question. So savings on average, if you're just yourself and the spouse, it's the savings depends on how much you make. Let's say if you're supposed to be making $27,000, $28,000 a year. But if you only make $10,000, the remainder of the $17,000 or $18,000, you have to multiply that by 3 if you're a citizen and not a green card holder. And so then it's like 17 or 18 times 3 is like 55, 56,000 on average for the last 12 months balance. So It's a formula. It moves depending on how much you make, what your background is. So these are the kind of things you should have a consultation to go over. Vexrol says, I was 13 when I came to the U.S., and I'm dependent on my parents' asylum case since I was 15. We just got referred to immigration court from asylum office. Sorry to hear that, and plan to marry a U.S. citizen. So, Vexrol Kodem. So, first of all, did you enter lawfully? If so, you need to file for green card through marriage. Now, because you have a court case started, they're going to be more like distrusting of your marriage. And you don't have to withdraw your asylum case, but if you're in immigration court, there's a problem. You have to terminate the immigration court hearing for them to be able to prove it, unless you adjust status in the court, maybe. So you need to have an immigration attorney as soon as possible, ASAP, in your local territory where you could go to the immigration court with you. And we don't do immigration court, but potentially try filing for adjustment in court. So if your case is open and stuff like that, try to do it. But if you could terminate your case and go to, there's a lot. This is very technical, strategic, so you need to talk to your attorney private. Ealbass, I have my green card for 2 years already through asylum and I have to wait 2.5 years, 2 years, 9 months for citizenship. But my fiance is a citizen already. Does that help me get citizenship in a year? Can I live for 2 years? You have to live with her for 3 years, or 2 years, 9 months. So, I have to green card 2 years. So if you had your, it does help you. You have to have been living with them. So you probably file for citizenship in a year as opposed to waiting another 2.5 years, 3 years. Yeah, you could use that. Vixerall says EWI. Well, that's a big problem, yo. So Vixerall Codem. If you enter EWI, enter without inspection, that's you need to stick with that asylum case and hopefully win it. But have an immigration attorney with you to really dive deep into your family's case. My thirst about to burn down. 18,000 likes. Let's get to 20,000 and we'll call it a day. I appreciate everyone so much for helping. Hey, immigration queen. Hey, Josh Goldstein. User 39. Can a waiver be revoked when you go for citizenship? Yeah, I mean, go for citizenship. You mean for green card? Because if you already have a green card, they're not going to waivers. They always say it's fraud or something like that. But you probably mean for green card. So it clarify exactly what you're asking. User 39. User 44. Legal AP entry interview on I-485 did not go well because I said I don't remember how I came. Well, it doesn't matter if you remember or not. You have to have the paperwork for it. So I'm not sure what happened. Veroxerol Kodem says, thanks, you're welcome. Victor says, don't forget to like. Let's get 1,400 more to get to 20,000. Victor, what if I go in the U.S. on a tourist visa while I'm married U.S. citizen and apply from there? They don't want you to come. That's called immigrant intent, and you're abusing and committing fraud on a tourist visa by doing that, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. Usually, I have a green card. So, if you have a green card, you go for citizenship, they're probably not doing anything about the waiver because they already approved the waiver unless they find it was incorrectly approved or something like that. So most likely it's fine, but I would need to get into when the waiver is approved, what was based on, what was the inadmissibility issue that you had. I got to analyze all that to see what's going on and what admissions you have to make as citizenship. That could be problematic for you. There might be good moral character issues involved too. So this is a larger thing we have to analyze first before you move forward. Please schedule a consultation, jqqlaw.com/contact. That's jqqlaw.com/contact. Filed waiver for misrepresentation of green card. So a misrep waiver and you got to prove it's probably okay. But again, under this public forum like this, I can't say yes or no on that. But it's not something I'm worrying about, let's say. But that's that. Nassau says, love your passion. Thank you. God bless you, Nassau. Thank you so much for watching. And whoever's watching, like this show so far, please go to Google, type in JQK Law, and leave a 5-star review. You don't even have to write anything, but 5 stars always help. If you like, you could sense how helpful I'm being, please do that. It helps the business a lot, and I appreciate it. Okay, we got to 19,600. I'll stay a little bit more to get to 400 more likes to go to 20,000 likes. And I thank everyone on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn for watching. And I'll take a couple more questions so we get to 300 more likes to 20,000. Yesterday, I thought it was a big deal. I got to like 9,000 likes. I'm like, dang, I got that without even asking today. We're almost at 20,000. Wow. 100 more. You're welcome, 3039. Mary Blue, thanks for joining. And we'll probably get to 20,000 likes in a second. And I'll call it a day. Went 48 minutes. And a lot of talking on my part. Let's go. 20,000. We hit it. Thank you so much. I wonder if I'm going to get pushed now more for, maybe I should stay online. But no, I got to go. All right, everyone. God bless. Be safe. I'll see you all next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's when I come live on YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. God bless. Be safe. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.